Good morning, everybody. Let me see here. Trying to get my phone to work in the right position. Okay. So, I overslept by like 2 hours. Because I was up till 4 a.m. writing. So if you've not read the article from 4 a.m., go read the article from 4 a.m. because it's a pretty good article. I think that all the ladies out there would agree that we all want a man in our bed the way that article talks about, for sure. And, and guys, that's definitely what us ladies are looking for. It's not about the actual sex, and the whole idea, the concept behind that article was just that it does take a lot to capture me, for sure, in a bigger sense. And yeah, just to kind of make that happen. But this particular live, I'm going to mention this on, and the reason I'm bringing up the article that I wrote at 4 a.m. called "The Man in My Bed" is because in the article, as I was sitting in my bed last night in just this beautiful, beautiful state of energy and connection and love, and I'm sitting there and I'm just letting this flow out of me. One of the things that came in, and as I shared in the article, he must have gotten, I was talking about this man in my bed and how he must have gotten a hold of my journal. God must have handed him a copy. And that right there is what I really want to talk to you about, is the creation, because I had this realization that in everything that is going on in my particular life, and maybe you can see some of the similarity. If you are a journaler, if you believe in conscious manifestation, conscious creation, I certainly hope that you're journaling. I certainly hope that you're taking time to slow the fuck down and get out of everything that is going on in your life and to meditate, so that you can actually connect and really hear what your soul is saying, so that you can be in that alignment and really call in what you want. Because remember that you are an attractor, okay? And an attractor means that you are attracting things to you, the things that you want. And if you're thinking wrong about it, then you're attracting the things that you don't want, right? And as I was sitting there and I'm writing, and I was thinking about, a couple years ago, I wrote in my journal a whole bunch of stuff about men, about a man, about, money, about family, about my well-being, all this different stuff. And I'm looking, and what I'm seeing right now, and as I was captured just into the relationship aspect of it last night in that article, was that I see a lot of this stuff manifesting in my life in current situations. So it is almost like my journal has been handed out, not just in relationship, but it's almost like my journal has been handed out, and God, universe, the people in my world are all trying to give me what I wrote down. And what's always trippy to me is when things come to me and it's almost verbatim as to what I wrote in my journal. That's one of those things where I go, wow, okay, somebody's definitely been creeping around and sneaking peeks into my writings of a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And it's cool to watch things manifest. Now granted, I would love for things to manifest a lot quicker, and they certainly most likely can, but it is just in getting into complete alignment right with that. So my message to you this morning, and as I was sitting here and getting my coffee and everything this morning, and I actually just laid in bed for quite some time and was just pondering some things, which I normally do not do. I normally, as you know, get up, get going, do my gratitudes, get up, grab my coffee, jump on here, write in my journal, and just keep going. But this morning I just laid there, and I had missed my alarm. So I have kids that are staying home from school today because I told them not to set their alarm last night. Oh, Mom will wake you up. Mom didn't wake you up. So guess what? You get to be home a day early for Christmas break, I guess. Oh, well, they're not missing much anyway, I'm pretty sure. But as I was laying there and I was pondering stuff, it just came into me about this is our story, right? This is our story. This is my story. The reason why things are manifesting the way they are is because it's my story. I get to choose how I write it. Well, that is equally so for you as well. It's your story. So why are you writing it the way you're writing it? Are you happy with the way you're writing it? Or are you not happy with the way you're writing it? Because if there are things happening in your world that really just are not groovy to you, you're not enjoying, you don't want it, it's not all that you could have it be, you're like, man, I keep attracting this kind of person into my life, or oh geez, I can't, like I'm always getting bypassed at work, I'm living paycheck to paycheck, I'm always sick, I never have the energy out in how she does that, how he does that, I could never do that. And just think about that, like, oh, I always have car problems, I always have this, I always have that. What are you manifesting into your story? Because it truly is your story. So why are you creating it the way you're creating it? And really, truly ask yourself, is this what I want? Is this what I want in my world, in my existence, in my experience? Do I have the things that I want? Now, we all have things that we don't want. We all have things that we do not want in our experience. And the real true meaning, like I've been kind of sharing all the last few conscious coffees with you, is that, if you look at things, if you start to notice like what is overwhelmed telling you, there's a whole bunch of blessings that are there and you're just not in alignment to it, right? If you look at what clarity, how our world, how our life is constantly clarifying to us the things that we want and don't want, so that we can have that difference, so that we can see both sides of the fence and we can make a conscious decision as to which side we want to be on, right? But most of us sit there and we teeter back and forth, and then we bitch and moan and complain about things when we're teetering the wrong direction, and we're like, oh, that caused it, that caused it, that caused it, instead of taking responsibility for our life. Well, now you come down to, this is your fucking story. This is your story. This is what you want to have happen. If you don't want to have certain things happen, then stop fretting about it. Stop worrying about exactly this or this or this, because the more attention you apply to the problem, the more of the problem you're going to get. That's what you're going to receive, because what is being put out there is, I'm worried about this. I'm worried about this. So what are you doing? You're setting up your magnet, your field of attraction, to do just that, to bring you exactly what you're not wanting. So you can go, oh, no, I'm not. No, I'm not, Kendal. I'm not doing that. I'm thinking about the solutions. I know what I don't want. So like, I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. I'm going to focus on this. But all the while, when you look at something, like let's take money for an instance. So for a second, let's look at money, because it's the holidays, right? So we're all spending more money than what we normally spend. So as you're out there and you're Christmas shopping, and you're spending your money, right? Maybe you're charging it. Maybe you're got it in savings. Maybe you're doing whatever. But as you separate yourself from this money, you are purchasing this gift for your loved one, okay? And you're purchasing it. Are you doing it with a, man, what is the feeling that comes up in you? There's excitement about, I'm so happy that I'm getting this person this, they're going to love it, right? You have that underlying current emotion is what I want you to tap into. What is the underlying current emotion that is happening? Yes, I'm excited that I'm buying my child, my lover, my friend, my sister, my mother, whatever, this cool gift, right? They've really been wanting it. Oh my goodness, so excited. But that stretching that you probably feel, or that constriction that you feel because you just spent an additional $200-300 that you didn't have. Maybe you charged it and now you know, oh man, I was so close to being out of debt and now I just racked up $2,000 on credit cards. But man, my family's gonna have a great Christmas, right? Man, but now you got $2,000 worth of credit card debt potentially, right? I'm just throwing out numbers here, I know. But let's say you have that. How are you feeling? I mean, does it feel good to have that kind of debt, that burden on you? What is your feeling towards the debt? Or can you walk into that detached? Can you actually do something like that, like spend money without attaching to the negative charge of the not having of the money anymore? Can you actually do it where you're going, hey, I'm just excited. I'm just excited. There's more than enough with playing leftover. There's more than enough with playing leftover. Because if you can really get into there's more than enough with playing leftover and really truly feel like you haven't really lost, you haven't given, you haven't spent, you haven't separated yourself from not this number that was in your bank account, right? That you had and now it's gone. If you can separate yourself from that, now you are actually still in receiving mode. You're not getting caught up in the scarcity mode of, I just spent this much money and now I don't have it. So now underneath, you're waking up at, in the middle of the night, you're laying there like, oh my God, Christmas cost me so much this year. Christmas did this, Christmas did that, blah, blah, blah. What is that going to do? It's going to cause you the whole feeling of that there's not more than enough with playing leftover. We do that in everything. We do that in everything. We do it in our relationships. We do it with our health. I mean, I used to go through, early on in my 20s, I would get sick every single February. I would get sick and it would come out of nowhere. I would just get this nasty ass cold and I would just be hacking up my lungs, and it went on for like 6, 7, 8 weeks. And it was just constant. And I had told myself, I always get sick in February. Now, there's other things at bay there, which I'm definitely not going to share on this particular Conscious Coffee, but I can tell you that when things come up like that, there's a reason for them, right? So we're not going to get into the whole emotional intelligence of the body and what it's trying to tell you in this moment, like when with sickness. But what I'm telling you is that in that time frame of my life, I was so focused on the acceptance of that I always get sick in February, that of course I had to get sick in February. It was my thing to do in February, was to get this illness, was to get sick. Well, if we can have that kind of impact on our physical body and create sickness even when there's really nothing there to get sick over, okay? So I've always been a pretty healthy person. A pretty strong immune system, except for in February in my 20s. Now that was a different story. But if you can actually create that in your life, imagine, what are you doing when it's like, oh no, I always have car problems. No, I'm always living paycheck to paycheck. Oh, I always attract this person, this type of person into my life. These always statements, whether we make them vocal or we actually just swallow them and say it to ourselves, or just constantly going, and we're looking for the gotchas. We're looking for the evidence to show up in our life. What are we doing? We're setting our cast, we're writing our scripts, we're consistently looking for the replays, and we're consistently rewriting that story over and over and over again to match what we have already experienced. Because, much like me with being sick in February, we have these programs, these consistent thought patterns that are now beliefs. And once those beliefs are there, they're established, right? They're in there, nicely rooted in there. And now we consistently lean back to them and we look for them. So we're constantly looking for the evidence for them to show up. So how can they not show up if we're looking for the evidence for them? If you're single and you've always been single and you're like, man, I'm always going to be single, I'm going to die alone. Or let's say you can't have a relationship more than 2 years. Oh, I dated a man one time that couldn't have a relationship longer than 2 years. He told me that on the front side. Had I only actually paid attention to that. But me, I thought, oh, I can outlive his 2 years. No, we didn't outlive 2 years. That's for sure. We did not, because the thought pattern there was that he could not have a relationship longer than 2 years. And he was so insistent on that right before the 2-year mark, he managed to do one thing that just kind of pushed it over the edge for me. And I went, whoa. And then now I talk to him like, this is the guy that I, like back there that I met. This is not the same guy. But guess what? I bet you he still hasn't had a relationship longer than 2 years. So if I got back in relationship with him, it would be a 2-year gig, and that's all it would be. It's that kind of pattern. What? So he is probably sitting there going, oh, well, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy enough. I always attract women into my life that can't handle this, can't do this, that aren't willing to commit to blah, 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 right? And what it is not that at all. It is actually the thought pattern of I can't have a relationship longer than 2 years. I've never had a relationship longer than 2 years. I have the thought process of there's tons of amazing men in the world. I always have lots of great guys in my life. There's, it's ever-flowing men for me. And guess what I always have? In one capacity or another, I have tons of men in my life. I have tons of male friends. I've never had an issue trying to be in a relationship with a man. I always am kind of like pushing relationships off because I'm going, there's too much relationships sometimes coming at me because I feel like I will never be alone. I will always have a great man by my side. And that thought pattern right there is exactly the creation, because I'm always looking for the great man by my side. It is an assumption, an expectation that there's always going to be one there. If you have that assumption, the expectation that, I don't know, and I'll go on weight now, right? If you're like, I can never lose weight. Well, guess what? If you're saying I can never lose weight, no matter how little you eat, no matter how much you exercise, you might lose some weight, but you're never going to achieve what you want because you're so focused in on the I never, okay? Or I can't have. It's those thought processes. That's what creates our stories. So really look at what that story is that is appearing in your life right now, and then try to track that back to what are the thoughts that I'm thinking, conscious or unconscious, and realize that the unconscious ones don't play a significant role, but they're there. So if you are consciously bringing them up to the surface, you're letting them pop up every now and then, that's when they make tremendous impact on you, okay? You cannot control the unconscious ones, but you have to become aware of the unconscious ones when they become conscious. Because once they become a conscious thought, you're activating it. You are plugging that puppy in, you're putting it onto a high force charge forward, power it up, let it run, and you're letting it run through your entire life. So just remember that if you have that thought of, I'm always broke, I always live paycheck to paycheck, I can't ever lose weight, I always attract this kind of person in my life, people always abandon me, I'm always alone, I'm always lonely, I'm always bored, I never have enough money, I always get passed by at work, I never have enough energy, I'm always tired, my kids always, my kids treat me like an ATM machine. All this different stuff that we tell ourselves. Those are all consistent thoughts that are writing our stories. So look at what your thoughts are. And if you don't know what the fuck your thoughts are, look at what's coming to you. And I really challenge you to look at both sides of this, where you're looking at the negative things and the positive things. You want more of the positive things, focus in on the positive things. Stop looking at the negative things. If you look at the negative things and you want to actually shift them a little bit more, two things have to happen. Number one, it's become conscious of the thoughts that you're thinking. So what are those thoughts? And then let the fuck go of the thoughts. Stop thinking them. Just do not give attention to those, okay? Because we have to change our focus to the positive. So take that negative thought, switch it to a positive thought, and consciously focus in, create a mental workout, you could say, to start looking at what those mental thoughts are and start creating the ones that you want. Which is why I always say, journal, 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 and meditate, meditate, meditate. Because when we journal, we are now writing out what we want. Hopefully, if you're doing it right, you're writing out what you want. You're giving yourself permission to have. You're telling yourself some I ams. You're writing it as though it already is, so that you are creating the story as though it already is, so that you can actually, attract it into your life, because you're attracting it, right? You're that attractor. And then you have to let go, because if you're so hardcore focused on I'm going to be happy, I'm going to be happy. But then you're constantly looking around for where your happiness is. What are you actually doing? If you're constantly searching for your happiness, you are stating loud and clear that you're not happy. Therefore, you're going to get more things into your life that make you not happy instead of letting go and just being happy. Now, I hope that you caught that, because that was really, really like a really powerful share right there. Because a lot of the times, and I get caught up in it myself, where I will be writing something down and then I spend my next day, my next week looking for it to manifest. I look for it to manifest, and in my looking is where I lose it. So that's what happens, right? If you are always searching for things to show up and you're looking for them to show up, then you're going to consistently notice where they're not showing up, which means that you're not thinking about them just being there. You're not embracing the vibration of them being there already. You're still embracing the old vibration of not having. So there you go. I think I came to completion. I hope that I got that out. All of a sudden I was just like, yeah, Ben, we're done. We're done. That was it. That was the point that I think I was trying to get to the entire time. And so we have a bunch of people that's popped on here, and I didn't say good morning to anybody. Good morning, Addison. Morning, Raymond, Jeff, Teresa, Kevin, Thomas. Wow, Drew, Steve, Kendall. I like your name, Kendall. It's my name too. And Kendall Renee. See, we both have Kendall Renee. There we go. I like that. Morning, Tom. Morning, Daniel. Planet Leon. Wow, look at you guys. So many people. Morning, Julie. So many people. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, I will be on here. Like I said yesterday, I was supposed to not be on here, and I went ahead and did that conscious coffee because it just kind of came in as I was driving home. And I love it when it always is beautiful to watch alignment manifest. And, you know, I wasn't going to do conscious coffee yesterday because I had to commute a distance to drop a child off. And I was just like, and in the car, I just felt overwhelmed to come in and talk about clarity and how our life clarifies things for us. And I was like, oh, but I'm going to be late, and it's not yet morning. And it's out of my norm. It's out of my norm of get up, do conscious coffee. But I did it anyway. And I have had some amazing feedback on yesterday's conscious coffee, and so a whole bunch of shares on it and comments and a lot of views and everything, and everybody's just loving that. So it was just really, really nice to realize that, hey, I felt like this needed to come in. It was coming into me, and to act on that aligned thought and to see it just manifests that, there was a bunch of people that actually needed to hear that message. And if I had held that would have been really selfish act of myself to do there, because I would have been holding back that message for everybody who needed to hear it, including myself, right? Because as I'm sharing on Conscious Coffee, I am talking to myself, much like my articles. When I write my articles, I'm writing them in a very pure state of in the moment, and so often I'm speaking to you, but I'm also speaking to me, because we're the same in so many different ways. So those messages, those ass kickeries that I do, they're all about me kicking myself in the ass, and I'm just doing it publicly and hoping that I'm kicking somebody else in the ass too, to try to get everybody motivated, because it's our tribe that truly helps support us. It's our tribe that keeps us going. But we can't really be a tribe if we're hiding from each other, now can we? So thank you for letting me share. I'm just in gratitude this morning, I guess. So thank you for letting me share. Thank you for being here on this live with me. I will be here tomorrow through the new year, I believe. I don't think I'm going to miss any days until like January. So that should really be some great Conscious Coffee content, which I'm really excited about, getting this all back on track and everything. Yeah, okay, so I think that's it. Okay, thank you, Addison. Thank you, Steve. So I will catch everybody tomorrow morning. As always, you can follow me at www.kendalwilliams.com. You can follow me here. Please, if this message touched you at all, hit the share button. Help me get these messages out. Help me grow my database. Help me grow my followers and getting the message out so that more people can be touched by these little bleeps of alignment and how to get into that soul alignment so that we can all have fuck yes life, because I believe that we were all designed and meant to have that very thing, to live just in abundance in so many different ways, in love and abundance, because that is exactly what we were created for. That, I believe, is giving more honor to Creator, to Source, to God, Universe, whatever term you want to use there, than anything else. It certainly isn't about paying our bills. Now, is it? That's part of being human, and we have to do that. But living in abundance, living in love, those things, those are true blessings, and they're right there for us. So, as always, stop existing, start living, and I will catch you tomorrow morning. Bye, guys.